Father said, "You're no child of ours." They took all I owned. 3 years on, they claimed me dead. I stepped into my funeral, smirking. I lived, and I thrived. I was brewing coffee in my small Chicago apartment when my phone buzzed. A video message from Mrs. Harper, our old neighbor from the suburbs. I hadn't heard from her in years. Just seeing her name on the screen dragged up memories I thought I'd buried. The message was short, no greeting, just one line. "I'm so sorry about your parents. I can't believe what I saw today." My stomach nodded. I tapped the video. It showed a church, St. Peter's in downtown Chicago, the same place my parents dragged me to for Christmas Eve services when I was a kid. The camera zoomed in on two figures at the podium, my parents. My mother, draped in black lace, dabbing at fake tears. My father, stiff, reading from a trembling sheet of paper. Behind them, a casket. Next to it, a large framed photo of me, surrounded by flowers. I froze. My father's voice crackled through the phone. She was always a troubled girl, but we loved her. We did everything we could. My vision blurred. He was reading my eulogy, my obituary. Though she left this world too young, we pray her soul finds peace. But I wasn't dead. I was standing right here, alive, breathing, shaking. I scrubbed the video back, played it again. Their faces didn't change. Their voices held no grief, just calm, controlled performance. I gripped the kitchen counter, hands trembling. "What the hell is going on?" I whispered. Why were they doing this? I hadn't spoken to them in years, not since they cut me off, disowned me like I was a stain on their reputation. But to hold a funeral? To declare me dead? The more I watched, the colder I got. My mother mentioned my tragic accident. There was no accident. My father spoke of my final years in isolation. I was working, living, surviving. They knew that. So why? The video ended with the camera panning to mourners, distant relatives, family friends, even my childhood piano teacher, all in black, all believing I was gone. Nobody had reached out to me. Nobody checked. I played the video again, just to be sure I wasn't losing it. The truth was clear. They didn't just erase me. They buried me alive. And I knew this wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. It wasn't always like this. I used to believe family meant protection, loyalty. That illusion shattered 3 years ago, when I was thrown out of my life like trash swept under a rug. The truth? I didn't steal the money. It was Claire, my younger sister, the golden child who could do no wrong. She embezzled nearly $80,000 from the family business account, blowing it on a lifestyle she couldn't afford. When the books didn't add up and the accounts caught fire, my parents needed a scapegoat. I was convenient. I still hear my mother's hiss in the kitchen. Better one ruined daughter than two. My father didn't even look at me when he said, "You humiliated us. You're no longer our daughter." The next morning, I was gone. No money, no explanation to anyone, just silence. I called, texted, sent letters, nothing. My number was blocked. When I reached out to close family friends, they stopped responding. Doors that were always open slammed shut. I became a ghost, not just to them, but to everyone who'd ever known me. Eventually, I did what broken people do. I left. I moved abroad, worked at a cafe, changed my number, learned to live quietly. I didn't post online, barely spoke my name. But deep down, I held on to hope that someday someone would call, ask if I was okay, say it was all a mistake. That day never came. Instead, something worse did. Last year, I tried reactivating my old email, but it wouldn't go through. Tech support said the account was deactivated because the user was reported deceased. My name was marked dead in their system, officially, digitally, completely. They hadn't just disowned me, they erased me. I couldn't sleep that night. The video looped in my mind. Their voices, their fake grief, my face next to a casket I'd never seen. My own funeral, without me. Something was wrong. So I started digging. I called my Aunt Susan, my mother's older sister. We hadn't spoken in years, but she used to slip me candy at family reunions. She answered on the second ring. "Aunt Susan, it's me, Emily." Silence. Then a click. She hung up. I tried again, blocked. I reached out to cousins. One sent a thumbs-up emoji and ghosted me. Another texted, "Is this some sick joke?" Nobody believed I was me, except one. My youngest cousin, Jake, who used to look up to me when we were kids. He texted back hesitant, "Emily, are you really alive?" "Yes," I replied. "I need the truth." "What did they tell everyone?" After a long pause, he wrote, "They said you died in a car crash overseas 3 years ago. Said it was too late to bring you home. Cremation, closed casket." My stomach dropped. There was no crash. I'd never even owned a car abroad. Something in me snapped. I pulled out every document I had, passport stamps, rental agreements, immigration papers. No accidents, no disappearances. I checked the public records online. There it was, Emily Carter, Date of death July 16th. Cause road accident. Status deceased. Certificate ID ARF 91327. They forged it. They made me legally dead. This wasn't grief or denial. This was a cover-up. But what were they hiding that was worth burying me alive? I should have stopped, but when you learn your family buried you alive, you need to know why. I found the answer where I hadn't looked in years. Claire's Instagram. She'd gone public again, posting a glittering carousel of photos. White roses, champagne fountains, a diamond the size of a pebble. Claire's wedding. Everyone was there. Aunt Susan, smiling like she didn't hang up on me. My cousins clinking glasses. Even great Uncle Frank, who lived across the country and never showed up for anything. But not me. Not one mention, not one photo, not even a "wish Emily could have been here" caption. I was erased like I'd never existed. I looked closer. In one reception photo, my father was giving a speech, wine glass in hand, grinning. The caption read, "To the one daughter who always made us proud." It hit me. I wasn't just forgotten. I was replaced. I searched the family business registry. My blood ran cold. The trust fund my grandparents left me, college money, startup cash, had been transferred to Claire 6 months after my death. Legally, quietly. She didn't mourn me. She profited off me. Enough was enough. If they wanted me dead, they were about to see how alive I was. The next morning, I walked into a law office with a stack of documents and fire in my chest. Passport stamps, employment contracts, tax filings, lease agreements, flight records. Undeniable proof. The young attorney across the desk looked stunned. "You're challenging your own death?" I slid the forged certificate over. "I'm not dead, but I'm gonna haunt them." He nodded slowly. "We'll start with a fraud complaint and a motion to revoke the death declaration. It'll take time." "I don't have time." I cut in, "because I've got a memorial this Sunday." That morning, a text came from an unknown number. "They're holding a memorial for you Sunday at St. Peter's." No name, no context, but I knew the church. My plan was set. That night, I stood at my apartment window, the city lights glinting below like sparks waiting for gasoline. They dressed me in lies, buried me in silence, pretended I never existed. But now I had a stage. Let them grieve, let them cry, let them perform. When the curtain lifts, I'd give them a funeral to remember. St. Peter's had never been so packed. Cars lined the street like a parade of grief. The heavy church doors stood open just long enough for mourners to file in, dressed in black, weeping, whispering, hugging like the tragedy was theirs. I watched from across the street, black coat, sunglasses, still invisible. It was surreal, like watching a play about a character who looked like me but wasn't me. Inside, the show had started. The organ played a slow, mournful tune. Candles flickered under my photo, the same one from the fake obituary. I remembered that photo. I was smiling for real back then. My father stood at the pulpit, voice somber. She was troubled, but we loved her. She lost her way, and though we couldn't reach her, we never stopped praying she'd come back. My mother sat in the front row, dabbing tears with a lace-trimmed tissue, her sobs delicate, practiced. Claire stood beside her, clutching pearls like they held her heart together. My sister Emily was complicated, but she was mine. I wish I could have said goodbye. A lie wrapped in a tear, tied with a vow. I stepped closer to the door, just enough to hear. The priest raised his hand. "May she rest in peace." I exhaled. "Not yet." "Let us stand for a moment of silence," the priest said. Everyone rose, heads bowed, eyes closed, hands folded. In that breathless pause, I pushed the church doors open. The sound was sharp, deliberate. 2 heavy oak doors groaning like a tomb splitting open. Cold light poured in, spilling down the aisle like a spotlight. I stepped into it, slowly, each heel clicking on the marble floor like a gunshot. Click, click, click. The silence shattered. Gasps erupted. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Is that? It can't be." A kid's voice cut through. "Mom, isn't that her?" I took off my sunglasses. Eyes met mine, wide, disbelieving, terrified. My mother's face went pale, lips trembling, then she crumpled in a theatrical faint, like she'd rehearsed it. My father's mouth hung open, his wine glass slipping, shattering on the pew. Claire locked eyes with me and froze, her jaw tight, pearls twisting in her grip. A half-full champagne flute fell from her hand, splashing across her perfect white shoes. The priest stepped back, stunned. I kept walking, every eye in the room tracking me, unsure if I was a ghost or a reckoning. Maybe I was both. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. My presence was the thunder after their lie, the consequence they prayed would never come. I reached the front of the aisle, turned, and faced them all. I smiled. Let the truth begin. I cleared my throat, breaking the silence. I heard I died. I'm here to set the story straight. A ripple ran through the room. Nobody moved. Some held phones but forgot to record. There was no accident. No car crash overseas. No closed casket because the body was unrecognizable. I pulled a folder from my coat. Thick, stamped, sealed with government marks and international dates. These are my passport stamps, employment records, tax filings, apartment leases. I've been alive. I've been working. I've been surviving. The only thing I lost was them. I turned to my parents. You told the world I died. Faked documents, filed a death certificate. And when I was legally gone, I locked eyes with Claire, her fingers clenched around her pearls. You transferred everything to her. My trust fund, my inheritance, my life. Claire opened her mouth to speak. I didn't let her. Don't enjoy the house you bought with my money. Murmurs rose like thunder behind me. Someone whispered, she's got proof. A phone lifted, red, blinking. Good. Let the world see this funeral for what it was. Not a farewell, but a cover-up. I stared my father down. You didn't lose a daughter. You threw her away. Now you get to watch her walk back in. Days later, I handed the documents to my lawyer, signed the final page, watched the death certificate get torn in half. My legal resurrection was official. An investigation opened into fraud, false reporting, embezzlement. Let them try to lie now. Sometimes, you have to die in their world to be reborn in your own. This time, I wasn't coming back for forgiveness. I was coming back for freedom.